Right, welcome back to the Delboy's Garage. This is part 4 of Project Triumph, the exhaust. Now I'm just going to do today the bracket that holds the two silencers onto the bike. Now at the moment it's a big fat plate, but I think that's a bit too much. I could cut it about. I decided maybe not to because I can just keep it. One of you guys said, what if you want to stand it back to standard and put the standard pipes back on? Unlikely, but you're right in some respects. If you keep the facility there, you can always use it. I know you can buy them, but I don't have to if I don't butcher it. It's only going to have 2 bolts that hold the two very lightweight silencers. It doesn't need to be a big fat plate because those big fat silencers are bolted in 2 places each, so you kind of get this big square plate thing, and also they weigh that massive amount, so you have to have something beef. But those little light things, not so important. So what I've got left over from the trailer build, I've got a bit of angle iron. I'm just going to make a bracket from that. Literally, it's just an old sharp edged offcut out the scrap bin, but it's 1/4 inch thick and 1 inch angle, so that will be perfect for the job, and that's what I'm going to do tonight. Last night I didn't do a video. I just spent some time on these, just finessing them, tack welding in the little pinholes, just hand on the back, blowing the top, little tiny pinholes here and there where when you've migged it you do get little gaps. So they're all sealed now, they're completely gas tight. I could have gone further and just kept sanding them and make them all shiny, but it doesn't matter, they're going to be painted black anyway. Obviously they're mild steel, which means they'll rust. The kind of that much of them that's going to show will rust, so therefore they have to be painted. So they're going to be painted. I've got some paint on the way, some special stuff, which is going to be the biz, and I'll share that when it comes. But for now, today, all I've got to do is this. I'm not going to waffle on too long. I just want to get cracking with that, make a little bracket so I can actually dry build this. So tonight I'm hoping to achieve, at the end of this video, the 2 exhausts bolted in situ loosely so that the thing is dry built. And then I can get all the angles right, get all the settings, mark everything, take some time finessing that so it looks half decent. Because what I don't want is it on the bike someone say, oh, you bolted your exhaust on with some angle iron. Not really interested. I want it to look something, so I'm going to carve it all and, you know, shape it so it looks a bit okay and a bit less rat bike, because obviously you can't have that for the Triumph. So there we go. Stick around, stay tuned, let's see what happens. So there we go. This is the ting, girt big plate, like a big fat number plate. Ooh, like a number plate cover. I'd use that as a side mount. Now that would make a wicked side mount. Fold that 90 degrees back. That's a ready-made side mount almost. So I shall be using that anyway. Now that's too heavy for this job. It's designed to take those big fat exhausts, like I said, and I don't need all that. So all I'm going to do tonight is that. That's the business. Just going to make a little bracket so I can drill 2 holes in it. And on the silencers, they're on that sliding mount, so they'll go anywhere where that goes, so it'll look half decent, and then make it a little bit less like angle iron. Okay, so let's get the exhausts, let's bolt them on and see, get that out of the way first and see what it looks like. Okay, keep the bolt safe. That's a big bit of metal. Right, messing about with that. What I've determined is that, there you are, these have only got 1 slot to allow for clamping down. They're not clamping down on those little pipes there. They're just waggling about, can't get them to clamp up, and that's because they've only got 1 slot. It's not enough. So I'm going to pop another one the other side and give that a try so it brings the 2 halves in a little better, because at the moment it's just not clamping up whatsoever. And as that slot there is exactly the width of a disc, I'm going to use a disc and drop it down the other side on both of them so that they actually got some ability to clamp up. With all this, with any universal parts, you've always got to adapt them a little bit, improvise and overcome. They never fit straight on, unless you're really lucky. That's better. It's starting to clamp up nice. That'll be perfect. Right, I think the next thing to do, without further ado, is start getting this bracket cut. Right then. Right, the front tab. Right, it's got the top of it. It's going to fit it on. Right, now I want to leave a bit of this on the back for no other reason than just a little bit of beef. That will then fit quite neatly there, radius that edge. I'll drill it in a sec. Still a bit warm. And that will sit wherever I need it, wherever the pipes come, I can just cut off the excess. Right, now to drill the hole. It'll be 8mm. Yep, it's an 8mm hole in the bike, so that's an 8mm hole in the plate. And we'll start with, because it's quite thick, we'll go through with a 4mm and then a 6, about 2mm at a time. Right, get the drill rigged up. Easiest way to mark it, pop it on that way, so that radius follows the radius of this big solid block, so it doesn't sit too high or low. And I reckon pencil in the back. Oh, perfect. There we go, just where you need it, in one strike. Right in the middle, lovely. Right, out to 6. And come on. Finally, out to 8mm. Ain't going anywhere, that's as strong as the bracket behind it. Lovely. And I want a treat. Excellent. Right. Now, let's get the pipes on. In the end, I slotted those 4 times in the end, just because they'll draw up far better. Right, about halfway through. Now, here's a bit of an offer up where the bracket's in there. As you can see, there's a bit of an angle issue going on. The pipes are coming back at a different angle to the face of the bracket, and I want the bracket flat against that edge. So what I've got to do is rotate that bracket, just twist it here on this piece of sheet. I mean, obviously that is 1/4 inch thick, so it's plenty strong enough. And all I'm going to do is literally in that section, I reckon I can just rotate that by that much. Shouldn't be an issue. A couple of pairs of grips and bend it, should be fine. If it gets weak or cracks, I can just weld it up, it's not a problem. So that bit there. Right. What I've got to do is rotate that about literally 10 degrees. Shouldn't cause a problem. We shall see. all the bend to be in there, like a little neat kink, rather than along its length. Let's measure that. That's it. Just want to measure that on the bike. Let's put that tight. Right. Now. So where they touch will be where they bolt through. Nice and central. One. Right. Okay. Drill them off centre so I can get to the nuts on the back. If you drill them in the middle, the nuts will be up against the back. So just a little bit of forward thinking. Got them loosely screwed in. Now that's that. Where are we? That lines up perfectly, but you can see this gappage that's occurred because I need this space here. I need at least, I reckon, 1 inch and a bit from the exhaust to the shock, for no other reason than heat transfer. There's rubber seals inside there, there's oil and stuff. I don't want that right up against the shock. The shock's only moving up and down, it shouldn't do anything, but I do want a proper clearance. So to bring these in any more would be wrong, and obviously then they look completely tucked in too much at the back. So with that's where they are, effectively that's left me with that little gap. So what I'm going to do for now, just to fill it safely, is pop a spare nut in there, and I'm going to make a little cover for the whole thing later on, just to cover that up because it looks a little bit crappy there. Now it's not very professional to have a nut in there as a spacer, but that's only temporary, because what's important, like I said, is that clearance is all correct. And I've got a full nut on the back there completely. Right. Yeah. Right, that's bolted everything up nice and tight. Okay, so quick recce and see where we are. They're all bolted up neatly. I've tried as much as possible. I'm as far back on this mount as I can go, so I can't go the exact same angle as the shock, but as much as possible. And they are beef, going nowhere. What I've got to do is obviously silicone all these and seal them properly, but for now what's important was getting the angles right. The top one follows along and comes up slightly, the bottom one and down. It's kind of an optical delusion that the bottom one is a bit lower, but I've actually measured the angles on them and they're the same. They actually follow the pipes as much as possible. Obviously, because they flare out, that should come down a bit, that should go up a bit, so they follow perfectly straight, but then they already are only ½ inch apart, which is correct, and they ain't getting any closer together because they're bolted through holes, not slots. So that's great. I've got that fitted with no slots. Everything's on proper holes. I've just got to get down here, cut the bottom of that off, tidy the bracket up, make a good job of it, and that, I reckon, will be it for tonight. Dry fitted. Let's get stuck in with the grinder, tidy this up. Right, there we are. 2 hours to make one bracket. Quite neat and tidy now. I would normally paint it now and fit it, but I'm going to paint the front pipes black, so that will get painted at the same time. No point in faffing about now. Little kink in it there, and quite a neat job. And beef as well. It's 1/4 inch thick and it's angled, so it ain't going anywhere. Now obviously they're on and that works, so I can hear loads of you already shouting, "Start it up, you bastard!" Yes, I know, I want to start it up too, but I'm not ready to. The only reason is it will be pointless. I want to start it up with the baffles in. I'll show you this. Now, received these. These are the baffles from my mate Ian, which go with the pipes, and as you can see, they've got a baffle tube in. So there's 4 options now. I can do a test, decibel test, with that baffle tube in and the wad in, with it in and without the wad in, without the wad in and without it in. So you just got that perforated tube, or with nothing in at all. So there's about 4 or 5 different tests. So the next video is going to be the baffles, testing, seeing if they work, seeing what is the best sound, not just the most decibels. To be honest, I don't want the most decibels. I want the darkest, deepest sound. I want the richest sound. You want a kind of slightly soft, velvety beat to it. Difficult to explain, but a harsh, raucous, banging sound ain't nice. It isn't pleasant, and I start work at 4 o'clock some mornings, and this is a little tiny close, so I've also got neighbours to consider. They're nice people, they don't deserve it, so there's got to be a balance, and that will be the next video. But for now, there we are, one bracket made, ready for bolting them on, and they're all tuned right angle and everything's perfect now, so I'm happy with the angle of them, happy with the way they look on the bike. When that's all black, I'm going to put the chrome shields on just to give it an accent so it doesn't look like a rat bike. So there we are. Thanks for tuning in to Delboy's Garage. Always appreciate all your kind support. Keep the comments coming, love it. Respond to all of them if we get time, and even if we don't. So there you go, ride safe. See you next time.